Alright, so my apologies. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. I know the video was pretty long. I wasn't planning on it being that long, obviously, but we were dealing with fear. We were dealing with fear before the video froze up. And so, the spirit of fear. That has killed more destinies than anything. That has killed more destinies than anything. As a matter of fact, the average person is afraid of becoming a millionaire. It's not something they talk about. People want to be rich, but they're afraid of it. So when the opportunity starts to present itself for them to level up in life, to level up in ministry, to level up in business, they'll sabotage the opportunity, because fear always comes with the spirit of sabotage. Fear always comes along. It brings hand in hand with the spirit of sabotage. It also brings the spirit of pride. And so people have a tendency to fear, because here's the thing: if I go to another level, I'm going to lose friends. I'm going to lose respect from certain people. There are certain things I got to give up in order to receive more. And all too often, we are afraid of losing certain things or losing certain people, because they've kind of shaped our lives, and they've become our worlds, or they've become an intricate part of our worlds. And so for that reason, we feel like we need these people in our lives. I remember having a friend. I had this friend for like 20 years, and she was a intricate part of my life for several seasons, obviously. And the thing about it was, I remember she would always say, especially toward the end of our friendship, she would always say things like, she would talk about her other friends, and she's just like, yeah, because such and such did this to me. That's why I don't fool with her no more. That's all right. She gonna miss me, because she gonna realize she needed me. She need me, or what have you, because I didn't help her out of this. I didn't help her out of that. And I didn't help her out of this. And I remember just knowing that at some point, me and her were gonna have to have that conversation where she was gonna say that about me. I knew that at some point she was gonna feel that way about me, like she was gonna feel like. But the thing was, for whatever reason, that became a seed in my mind where I felt like, despite whatever she manifested, despite the things that she did, I felt like I needed her in my life. And every person that came into my life, I don't think I've had a single person who came into my life who said, hey, that's a great person in your life, that's a great addition into your life. Every person who came into my life would always say the same thing: Tiffany, that girl jealous of you. And I couldn't see it because I had been friends with her for so long, and that's not something. And actually, I could see it, but I just felt like it was something we could work around. I felt like, well, I could justify her particular case because of what happened to her or what have you. So I would just, find a way to just say, well, yeah, we're working on that or what have you. And so eventually I had to get over my fear. I had to get over my fear of losing her. And I had to go ahead and let her go. God started having prophets coming to me and telling me, God's about to remove, you got somebody in your life. And I'm just like, I know, I already know. But eventually I had to get over my fear of losing her. I had to get over my fear of not having her to lean on in hard times. I had to get over my fear of not having her around when I wanted somebody to talk to. I had to get over my fear of just going into the unknown, not having any friends, having to get used to new people. I had to get over my fear because I didn't want to have any new relationships. And I want you to understand that is the breath of poverty. The breath of poverty is to surround yourselves with all things familiar, to stay around whatever is familiar to you. I had to get past that fear of the unknown. Excuse me. I had to get past that fear of the unknown. And so my life would oftentimes be shifted by the unknown. Things happening in my life. Found myself, suddenly going through a divorce. And next thing you know, I was dating somebody. And next thing you know, I'm moving overseas, after I got married or what have you. It was just crazy. But I made a lot of crazy, dumb decisions. I did a lot of crazy stuff in my life. But I had to get past my fear of the unknown. Like, I was bold enough to do certain things, but I had to get past my fear of the unknown. And I can be honest with you, I think all of us still deal with some level of fear of the unknown. But we have to get past it if we want to go and do great things in this life, if we want God to use us. So we have to deal with fear. Another level of fear, another extension of fear is fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Most people who have a call on their lives, if you're dealing with a creative, you're dealing with a prophet or somebody who's prophetic. Most people who have a call on their lives has dealt with some level of rejection. As a matter of fact, I think that we're trained. I think that a lot of times our training ground is at home with our parents or in our families or in our communities or what have you. God allows us to be trained as children. Now, we can take it as I had a terrible childhood. Or we can sit back and say, I started getting trained fresh out the womb. I came out the womb. I was handed a weapon. I was handed crazy kinfolks. And then I was told to, hey, pick up your diaper and fight. I came out the womb having a fight or what have you. And so because we've experienced rejection and we've experienced the hurt that comes with, especially somebody you love and you somebody that you lift up, somebody that you admire, when that person rejects you, when that person walks out of your life, it can be really devastating. And so for that reason, especially if you made investments into them, you held them up, you've done that for a long time. And to have that person reject you can be very devastating. It takes time to get over. And if we've ever suffered that wound, we're oftentimes so afraid of having to deal with that pain again, not realizing that back then we didn't necessarily have God. God will pull you through right now. But we're so afraid that a lot of times we sabotage relationships because of the fear of rejection. We sabotage relationships because of the fear of rejection. I've had people in my life who feared rejection, and if I got to the point where I was having to kind of correct them or rebuke them, you could tell that they started feeling like that I was about to reject them. And a lot of times they would sabotage the relationship. They would do something to go ahead and destroy the relationship because they feared rejection. And I wasn't about to reject them. I was just telling them that this is a problem. I was telling them, hey, listen, you can't do this. You can't come to my house and do that, or you can't do that. You got to show respect. You got to do this or what have you. I wouldn't come to your house and do that to you. I respect you. You got to respect me. You can't do this. And so because for them, they associate correction with abuse, and they associate abuse with rejection, they go ahead and they start feeling some type of way. So they may go and start talking about you. They may go ahead and start doing stuff. They'll go ahead and finish off the relationship because they feel like you're about to kill it, what have you. And that's not always the case. So fear of rejection will cause you to actually cause people to reject you. If that makes sense. It will cause you to sabotage your relationship. It will cause you to manifest certain behaviors that people don't necessarily want to tolerate. It'll cause you to, all of a sudden you start getting prideful and stuff like that, and you start acting some type of way, and then people start deciding, hey, I really don't want to be around you. I really don't want to have to deal with you. And that's the fear of rejection. Let's go ahead and move on, guys. The next one we want to talk about is lack of time management. Lack of time management. What does that mean? You don't know how to manage your time properly. You spend too much time on the phone. See, time is an investment. Time is an investment. Whatever you put your time into, that's where you're pulling your investment from. This is the reason why I stopped allowing people to get me on the phone and talk for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time about absolutely nothing. I could be doing something else with my time. So lack of time management. Some people will sit back and say, well, hey, listen, if you do the total of this video is probably 2 hours. And so from the first part to this part, 2 hours. And so, hey, that is a long time, and that's why I'm not going to put pressure on everybody to finish it real quick or what have you. But if you take that same person and you put them in front of a movie, something that's where people are killing or what have you, they'll sit back because that's a priority issue, because they lack the ability to prioritize things in a proper way. They'll sit back and watch that movie. Oh, did you see that R. Kelly series? I watched that whole thing 6 straight hours, but I couldn't watch a 2-hour video. That was going to help me with my destiny. I couldn't watch a 2-hour video. Why? Because I didn't know how to manage my time properly. I didn't know how to manage my time properly. I came home from work. I laid in the bed. I ate ice cream. I watched television, and I let somebody waste my time for 2 or 3 hours. Or I wasted somebody's time for 2 or 3 hours just talking on the phone about absolutely nothing. I sit back and I see people on Facebook, and I think to myself all the time, you're managing your time improperly. Every time I look up, you're all over Facebook. You're always posting up or what have you. Now, my Facebook page stays open. And I'm not on Facebook, so if you happen to see my light on and you inbox me and you don't get a response, my Facebook page stays open. Doesn't mean that I'm online. I just keep my computer on. But anytime I'm online, like right now, it's 3:35 in the morning. So anytime I'm online, I'm always seeing people who are sabotaging their destiny, playing Candy Crush or doing something crazy. I'm like, all that time spent playing games, because it show you up in a little corner where people are playing or what have you. All that time you spend playing games, you could be building a business. You could be building on your family. You married. Why aren't you sitting up there? Why don't you go up in there and wake your wife up and say, beautiful thing, wake up. Let me spend time with you. We ain't got nowhere to go in the morning. Neither one of us got to work. We off. So let me spend some time with you. Yeah, she's gonna be groggy in the beginning, but she'll appreciate it if you got something to actually talk about or what have you, if you are showing her love. But a lot of times, lack of time management, we are investing our time in the wrong thing. And then when we start to pull from that investment and we realize that the only thing we're pulling is we got the knowledge of how to play games, but we don't have the knowledge of how to get through a storm, then we start sitting there complaining and crying and I don't know why all this stuff is happening to me. And the issue is because you invested your time in the wrong thing. Time is an investment. What are you willing to invest your time in, and what are you complaining about? Some of you, when it came to the program, you're just now joining the message board on tonight. Why? Because you're not managing your time properly. You're sitting back saying, well, I'll get around to it. Can we be honest? Can we tell the truth? I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. You're constantly planning to do stuff, then that's procrastination. But I'll get around to it. But you're putting your time, you're investing your time in other things. So I challenge you to get a pen and piece of paper and start really just taking inventory of your day. I need you to find out where the bulk of your time is going every day. Besides going to work, start doing inventory of your time. I challenge you to do that. Do that for about a month. Do that for about 2 months. You'll be amazed at how much you invest your time in. You'll be amazed. And if you were to look at that, you will say, wow, I spend like 6 hours a day doing absolutely nothing. I come home from work, 6 hours a day I'm being idle. I'm on the phone, I'm laying up watching TV, I spend 6 hours a day. And I do understand we do need downtime. But if I'm going to be up, if I'm going to be talking, I'm going to put that conversation to something that's beneficial. Like for me personally, one of the reasons I stopped doing this whole best friend thing, like I got people in my life that I love and I honor and all this other stuff, and I got rid of the whole best friend thing, is because females, when you say best friend, oftentimes what you mean is I want to talk to you every day for 2, 3, 4 hours a day. I could be doing a video. I could be doing something that's benefiting a lot of people instead of talking to somebody who has gotten familiar, and from that point on, they can't receive. From now, I'm over here wasting my time giving you information. I'm throwing my pearls to the swine, giving you information that you're trampling on. I'm wasting my time. So lack of time management, guys. You got to learn how to manage your time. So again, I challenge you to get a pen and a piece of paper and begin to jot down your day every day. As a matter of fact, get a pen and a piece of paper, get you a journal or something, and have something that has the dates on it, like Monday, October this, or Monday, January this, Tuesday, January that, Wednesday, January this, or what have you. And that way you can keep up with your days. And every day, go and log your time. Log what you're doing with your time. Log where your time is going. It's important. That this is the same thing when it comes to money. You have to sometimes log where your money is going, because if you don't, then you'll be sitting up there like, what? Okay, I paid $60 there. So it's important that you take inventory. I want you to understand that every multi-million-dollar and every multi-billion-dollar corporation takes inventory of their stuff. They're trying to monitor what's going out and what's coming in. They're trying to see things. And so how is it that we look at these companies and we see their immense success, and we don't think that we need to mimic those same behaviors in our lives? It is important for us to begin to take inventory of what's going in and what's coming out of our lives. As a matter of fact, it'll help you to understand the nature of the warfare in your life. Like if somebody comes into my life and all of a sudden I start going through a whole lot of warfare, that tells me that person probably not supposed to be in my life. It's some stuff that came with them or what have you. So it's important for you to start logging and start paying attention to what comes with people, what goes with people. Somebody get out of your life and all of a sudden your life is just peaceful. That person wasn't supposed to be there. So lack of time management. Then we're going to deal with the last one, is familiarity. Obviously, familiarity, and this is one of the dangerous, guys, and even in the program, is that you start seeing the person's humanity that God is using to mentor you. to lead you or what have you. You start seeing the person's humanity, and from there you start dealing with the person on from a different perspective. You start dealing with them. You're no longer dealing with them from I'm gleaning from you. You start dealing with them like, oh, we best friends. And so I've had people to come into the program, and I'm pretty sure, and I've had people to come into some of my classes with the objective of becoming my best friend. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be candid with you guys. They come in with the objective of I'm gonna get close to her. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna do lunch. We're gonna do this or what have you. And what that person and what I see, the person is auditioning to dishonor me. They're auditioning for an opportunity to come, because the thing about it is all about perspective. Their perspective is you talk a lot, let's say, for example, about relationships. If I'm your best friend, I get to sit at the table gleaning from you, and I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't got to do all this stuff. So I can be sitting at the table like, oh, okay, so Tiffany, tell me what you said again. Oh, girl, did you know? Oh, did you know that boy did? This is a ministry secret, guys. This you got to be careful, because some people who come into your life who use the term friend or best friend, they're not there because they want to be your friend. I call it a minister in the pocket. They want somebody that they can call and be constantly get affirmation. They want somebody that they can call and just tell all their issues to. That's going to usually be a one-sided friendship where it's always you picking them up, lifting them up, correcting them. You're always doing, and that's a mentorship, but it's got a wrong label on it. Now you didn't put the term friend and best friend on it, and it's going to end bad when you do that. Anytime you put the wrong label on a relationship, it's going to end bad. The last girl I allowed to call me her best friend, that thing did not end well. And the reason for that is because over the course of our friendship, I knew that I was her big sister in the Lord. I knew that I was her mentor. I knew that she was a babe in Christ. My relationship with her was all about her. My relationship with her was all about her. It was her talking about herself. As a matter of fact, I met her through an article that I had written talking about the Jezebel spirit. And she was like, oh my God, that's my mom. And she reached out to me, and I didn't have any protocol back then. I didn't understand. So I felt like I needed to help her out because she came off as so sweet and innocent. Got on the phone with her, and then every conversation ended with, okay, this is really good. I got to really talk to you. Okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I got to call you tomorrow because you're really blessing me. And then one day I allowed those words to come out of her mouth. I remember hearing them. You are my best friend. And I didn't say anything. And I allowed it to continue. And then before long, I was calling her my best friend. And the whole time, this was an unequally yoked relationship. And it was not a good, it was just me mentoring her. And so that's what she did. So it got to the point where it became a friendship in her mind, when really it was a mentorship. And from there, she would choose what she wanted to receive from me. And so this is a dangerous thing when a relationship changes like that. From there, it was kind of a sort like, no. And so I want to argue with you about this, but I don't want to argue about that. And so it became like I want to sort through your advice or what have you. Not to say that she's supposed to do everything I tell her to do or what have you, but I'm saying she didn't even consider it because of familiarity. And so what would end up happening was she ended up getting burned because she go do things her way. She ended up getting burned, and now she wants me to sit up on the phone with her for 4 and 5 hours a day while she sits back and talks about why, I don't understand what happened. And it got to the point where it was just like, okay. And I remember the way that God cleared me of that friend was he allowed me to start going through my storms, and she wasn't there. She couldn't be there because of her perspective. See, at that time, people won't acknowledge that you're their mentor, their big sister. They won't acknowledge that. And once they get into familiarity, until it's your time to need help, until it's your time it's their time to come, or it's time for them to come along and to cover you, to pray for you, to intercede for you, to help you up. And from there, that when they see you down, they're just like, See, I can't really deal with that, because that means that I'm not going to be able to talk about myself. And so even when I was going through some stuff, she incessantly talked about herself like it was nonstop. And she kept inserting herself in everything. And I just got to the point where I had to really just tell myself, like, she ain't the problem, you are. That's a babe in Christ. That's how babes act. That is a babe in Christ. Yeah, she knows ministry. I mean, not knows ministry, knows the word in some cases. She can come out and do a video. She can do a lot of stuff. But in reality, this is a babe. This girl whole conversation, whole world is all around, is centered around her. Everybody she brings into her world centers around her. Is centered around her, and everybody has to affirm her. Everybody has to tell her what she wants to hear. Everybody has to do for her. Everybody has to calm her down. Everybody has to build her up. Everybody has to do this. But she wasn't doing that for anybody. She wasn't doing it just an occasional. I just, I believe God's gonna do this, and so you just keep your head up, or what have you. So anyway, girl, I told you he called me yesterday, right? He called me yesterday, right? So in ministry, you have to beware of familiarity. You gotta put the right labels on relationships. You have to put the right labels on relationship. This is the reason why your pastor won't go out to eat with you when you're sitting back and you're like, we gotta do dinner. We got to do dinner. And you may hear that he went to dinner with this person or he went to dinner with that person, but he won't necessarily come with you because he may identify familiarity in your life. He may identify that, hey, listen, if I go out to eat with you, or she may identify, if I go out to eat with you, first thing you're going to do is start trying to call me by my first name. You're going to get disrespectful. Instead of calling me pastor, which I'm not your pastor, of course, I'm just giving you guys an example. But for your pastor, he may say, instead of you calling him pastor, from this point on, you want to come over here and let's say his name is Rob. You want to call him Rob. You like, Rob, man, come on now. That familiarity, because you don't know how to be in the presence of people and maintain their honor. Everybody in your life has to be eye level to you. This is a demonic stronghold. This is a mindset. Everybody in your life has to be eye level. Your perspective, the only people you can deal with, they have to have the perspective of here because of jealousy in your life. Because once you look up to people, that jealousy kicks in. You don't know how to deal with them. So you got to pull them down to your eye level and deal with them on your eye level because you don't know how to submit. That is a Jezebel problem. That is a Jezebel problem. It is important that you don't allow familiarity to come creep in. It is important that you don't get around somebody and feel like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but girl, please. And I've had people to do this, and I anytime somebody has gotten to that point with me, I can tell their season is up in my life. I can tell my season is up. It's time for them to go. If I'm mentoring them and they get to the point where I'm more of a friend than a mentor, when they get to the point where, here it is, and let me tell you what the problem with this is. Here it is. I got, I'm here in my destiny. I'm over here. They're here. And so I'm trying to help them to come where I am. This is mentorship. I'm trying to pull them. But now, because of familiarity, they feel like they've already arrived here. And because of familiarity, so now they're argumentative. They're combative in regards to what you're giving them. I don't understand. You send a text message and say, no, you shouldn't do that. Well, I don't understand what you're talking about because I don't see nothing wrong with it. Combative. All right, go do it. That's my attitude. All right, go do it. But then they want to come back and just be combative. Why? Because they lack the ability to see people up, because they're afraid that if you're up, you're going to walk away from me. The fear of rejection. They're afraid that if you're up, and it's the fear. They're afraid that if you're up, you're going to keep looking down on me. Or you're going to realize that I'm not an asset to your life. I'm not that big of an asset to your life. So let me get to a place where I can appear to be an asset. I can be an asset as a friend. I can be an asset as a friend. Let me get to a place where I can be an asset to you, where I feel like I can be an asset to you. And then we'll build from there. No, you're going to start tearing stuff down from there. You got to be willing to, listen, you got to be willing to understand that it's okay to have mentors and mentees in your life, and doesn't mean that they're ahead of you on every area. I may be ahead of you financially. I may be ahead of you spiritually. I may be ahead of you in certain areas. It don't make me better than you. It just means that God is giving me the provision and he's giving me the wisdom to teach you and to help pull you. And that way you don't have to fall into the same traps that I fell into. You don't end up married 2 times because you were hard-headed. You don't end up in an abusive marriage. You don't end up in a witchcraft marriage. You don't end up in a whole lot of crazy stuff because you had a mentor that showed you how to get around that stuff. But familiarity will always destroy the foundation of whatever it is that God is trying to build in your life. Familiarity will always destroy, because people don't understand it's okay to have a mentor. It's okay for you to sit there and say, I'm learning something. It's okay. You don't have to be at eye level perspective with people. You ain't got to be best friends in order for the relationship to work. Most of my friendships ended when I was supposed to be a mentorship, when it started off as a mentorship and it ended up as a friendship, it ended because there was a perspective shift. It was because God didn't call me to be this woman's friend. God didn't call me to be her friend. Now, here's the thing I love about God. I want you guys to get this because you're going to be teaching people as well. Here's the thing I love about God. I can mentor somebody. That person can grow up in Christ. And me and that person end up being really close friends. At that stage in life, God may pull me away from being a mentor to that person, but I may end up still being that person's friend. And I'm okay with that. But you got to recognize in this particular season, I'm a mentor. I'm not here to sit down and shoot the breeze with you. I'm not here for that. But familiarity will cause you, because some of you've never dealt with having to honor somebody. You don't understand honor. And I get it. But it's time for you to start learning. You've had every relationship, even the relationship with your parents, you talk to them. Dad, come on now. You call your dad by his name, Robert Jenkins. Forgive me if anybody's named Jenkins in the program. I can't remember. I'm just thinking of names of, Robert Jenkins. Robert Darrell Jenkins. You've never really known how to honor a person. Everybody in your life, you have to pull them down to a certain perspective. And even in this program, you're going to try me. I've had this in every class. There are some people who lack the ability to look up to somebody. They lack the ability. Everybody got to be, because I don't want to stretch my neck. Everybody got to be eye level. Everybody got to be on my level. And they got to find what's wrong with you. They got to find your area. They got to find your humanity. Girl, Tiffany, please. You need to stay away from McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Why are you over here trying to talk about what's wrong with me? I'm just trying to say, you need to stay away from McDonald's. You need to stay away from that. Because at the end of the day, no, you don't do that. If I'm your mentor, you don't try that. I would never go to my pastor, my apostle. I would never go to my apostle and sit around and first try to sniff out his life, then find something and be like, come on now, apostle, you need to stop. That's not my place. That's out of order. That's dishonor. That's not my place to do. So you got to be careful that you're not trying to correct the person that God has sent to correct you. You got to be careful, because that's when familiarity starts to creep in. And most of the people who have a great call in their lives, who could have done some great things, they lose amazing relationships and opportunities because of familiarity. And I'm telling you guys, because I've seen this firsthand. They lose great opportunities and great relationships because of familiarity, because they get to the point where they feel like, who you is? Shoot. They get to the point. And I got to say this, a lot of times us as females, especially us as African American females, this is something we got to really pull on. We got to pull this thing down, because a lot of us, it's hard for us to submit to another African American female or another female. A lot of times we can't talk about things because we walk around dealing with offense all the time. We get offended when somebody tells us the truth. Remember, offense and pride are spirits that come to guard you, to keep you from receiving the truth. A lot of times our issue is we got to pull everybody down to our level, and that is ungodly. I'm going to give you guys a secret, then I'm going to let you go. If you want to be used by God, you need people to look up to. If you want to be used by God, you need people to look up to that you're not trying to pull down to your level. You need people to look up to that you're not trying to get into a spot where, girl, please. Tiffany, I know y'all know her as Anointed Fire, and she cool and all that. But girl, please, she ain't no more. She human just like all of us. Of course we know that. But at the same time, in the kingdom of God, there's a such thing as rank. And we don't want to identify it because of pride, because we don't want nobody outranking us. Now, if I sit there and say you outrank, and I put you around everybody you outrank, you good. But if you come around and you find out that somebody else is outranking you, the first thing you want to do is get close to them so you can pull them down to eye level. So you can pull them down. And that doesn't make God pull them down to eye level. But what God does is he will deal with you because of your dishonor. A lot of times people deal with issues in their finances because of dishonor. I can't tell you how many people I've sat down and they sit back and they be talking about, I don't know how my money's like, I'm going through this with my money. And I'm looking at them like, I know. That dishonor in you. You don't know how to honor people. You don't know how to keep people at a level. You don't know how to understand rank. You don't know how to understand that it doesn't mean that the person is better than you. Because I know what pride gonna tell you. It doesn't mean that they're better than you, but you don't know how to understand. This is somebody that God placed in my life in order for me to mentor me Some people maybe even your pastor to pastor you or what have you. You don't understand. I really need to submit, even though it goes against everything that I know. It goes again because I wasn't brought up like this. I didn't have to submit to my parents. I didn't have to submit. So how am I gonna deal with this? You make up your mind to deal with it. You make up your mind. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna show honor. I'm gonna demonstrate honor. I'm gonna learn honor. I'm gonna ask God to teach me honor. I'm gonna ask God to keep me from going into any form of idolatry, because I think that's the biggest fear when you're dealing with honor, they think that you're trying to, because there is a such thing, I've heard somebody teaching on honor, idolatry, or what have you. And so sometimes people are afraid that they're going to end up making an idol out of you, or you're going to teach them to make an idol out of you. And that's not always the case. So it's important that we understand honor. If you ever want to do great things in this life, you better understand honor. If you ever want to go far in this life, you better understand and execute honor. You want to make sure that you're not the person. And guys, I've told you, for everybody in the program, one of the things that I'm going to be on the watch out for, not saying I'm monitoring your page, but if I come up and I see, for example, a pastor in a scandal and you on your page and you talking about him, I'm coming for you. With the love of God, I'm coming for you. Because the thing about it is, that's dishonor. You never touch a platform with your lips that you never stood on. You never come against a platform that you never stood on, because first and foremost, you don't understand it. Secondly, you don't know his struggle. Thirdly, I know people will say, well, what about, what if he up on let's say he cheating on his wife? What we supposed to do? We ain't supposed to say nothing? Yeah. Yeah. Is that your pastor? No? Be quiet. If it is your pastor, then you pray for him. You pray for him and you allow the order of God to play out. That means that he should have a pastor and his pastor should be correcting him. You're supposed to be interceding on the other end. That's it. Now, if he come ask you for your opinion, then you can say, Pastor, I thought it was a bad idea. When I saw that girl, I knew the pastor. So the thing about it is, it's important for you to maintain that level of honor. It's important for you to make sure you don't step into the wrong position. There are a lot of people who would have done great things, who would have gone far, but they kept dishonoring God's leaders. And for those of you who say, well, okay, I'm sorry, if my pastor cheat on his wife, I got something to say. I pity you. I pity you, because you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea. You got to remember that David in the Bible, and this is what God uses for any person who wants it, because this is what I love about God. God will give you something. Whatever you pursue, he will give you. If you want to forgive people, he will give you forgiveness. If you want to understand honor, he will give you the understanding of honor. And so one of the things that any person who pursues honor, any person who wants to understand the heart of honor, who's not offended with honor, because if you're offended with the whole idea of honor, simply because that means you have to start in at the bottom in your mind, your perspective, and you got to work your way to the top. So you mean tell me I got to honor all these people? Who honoring me? But if you got that perspective, then you never have to worry about it, because you're going to spend your life in the hood rolling your neck. I got to tip guys, listen, that's what this program is about. It's about being raw. I got to be raw with you guys. But you're going to spend your life in the hood rolling your neck. Shoot, because girl, I don't play that thinking you smarter than the average bear, but your bill's going to tell you otherwise. But if you want to understand honor, God will teach you honor. God will show you that. Here you had King David, who God referred to as a man after his own heart. And this man sat up there and did some crazy, wicked, demonic stuff. Like stuff that make you say he shouldn't be king. Stuff that make you say, I don't trust nothing coming out of his mouth. But yet and still, God still referred to him as a man after his own heart. David constantly and consistently humbled himself. He kept honoring, he kept humbling himself. And God honored that. And so it's not my position to attack a pastor, to attack a leader, simply because something they did becomes public knowledge, or something that people think they did becomes public knowledge. It's not my position. And I've seen somebody argue like, well, okay, I saw a girl posting up, but y'all coming out for R. Kelly, but y'all don't come out for pastors. That is called rank, baby. I'm not in the world. I'm not in the world, so I can talk about the things of the world. I'm not in the world. But when it comes to a leader, when it comes to a pastor, R. Kelly's not my pastor. R. Kelly's not anybody's pastor. But when it comes to the kingdom of God, there is a such thing called honor. Honor. My pastor's been doing a teaching called Honor Intelligence. I really admonish you guys to download the Brian Meadows app. and to listen to that called honor intelligence. You got to understand honor. You got to understand it. And I said this to you guys before, and I want to say it to you again. I'm not brainwashed. I don't, my apostle didn't give us 1,000 teachers on honor. As a matter of fact, he rarely ever teaches on honor. What I learned about honor, I learned in my spare time, because that was knowledge that I pursued. It was knowledge that I wanted. It wasn't something that I was just like, I've heard enough pastors talking about it, so I guess I'll submit to it. It wasn't like that for me. It was something that the Lord started dealing with me about, and he started teaching me what it means to honor a person. He started teaching me what honor meant, and that's because it was something that I want. When I said, God, I want your heart, and I want to do your will, I want to do what it is that pleases you, honor was one of those things that came with it. So God said, okay, Tiffany, I want to do some great things in and through you. However, in order for me to do those great things, I got to get you to understand honor. I got to get you to understand honor. That way, when I open doors, because God opens doors through people. God doesn't open doors through, guys, hear me on this. I know you think that you're going to write a book and it's going to become a bestseller, and you're going to have all your money, and you're going to have platforms, and people who rejected you are going to see your worth and all this other stuff. But it don't work like that. God opens doors through people. People are the ones that God uses. If you look at Joseph's life, it was always a person. A person did this. People who did him wrong, and there were people who helped him to get into the position that God had called him into. God uses people to get you to your place, to get you to your destination. God uses people. So you got to understand honor, because whatever you dishonor, you will lose. Whatever you dishonor, you will lose. Whatever you dishonor, you will sabotage. Whatever you dishonor, you lose the benefits of. Whatever you dishonor, you rob yourself of. You got to understand honor. I'm not saying that for me. I'm saying that for your pastor. I'm saying that for every person that you come in contact with. Because for those of you, for example, you say, God, use me. You know what? I want to be a multi-billionaire. God, use me to the greatest. Father, you know what? Use me however you want to use me. And you know, and you've had prophets that come to you and say, God's called you to wealth. God's called you to greatness. God, it may very well be, it doesn't mean you're going to reach that place. In order for you to reach it, you have to have honor intelligence. You have to understand honor. In order to get there, you have to understand honor. If you don't understand honor, you will sabotage every opportunity, because you'll get in. And I want you to get this, because this is what people don't understand. I've had people, and I'm just going to be candid with you guys. I've had people in my life who were absolutely no benefit to me. Absolutely no benefit. They didn't benefit me none. I was a benefit to them, but they weren't a benefit to me. If you have no benefit, I'm sitting here pouring into you, and it's not like you out here helping me out or sowing into me or nothing like that. If you're no benefit, I'm doing it because I believe God wants to do something to you and through you. But if you're no benefit and you start dishonoring, I don't understand it. You get to the point where you want to get familiar, but you are of no benefit. You want to get to the point where you start, girl, please, but you are of no benefit because of familiarity. You're not benefiting the person. And that's the crazy thing. People will come into your life and they are of no benefit. None. Like they ain't sowing it to you. They ain't helping you. They ain't doing nothing. I mean, like your status, that is no benefit. Like your status from here and there, but that is of no benefit to me. And will sit there and think that they have the right to dishonor you. Now, because you know what I'm saying? Because what you posted up the other day, I didn't like that. They think that they have the right to dishonor you. If I'm sitting at a table with a millionaire or a billionaire, and we're talking about a business venture he's trying to make, and you know he wants to use me for that business venture. In all honesty, I am of no benefit to him. In that moment, he hasn't hired me. I am of no benefit to him. So if I get to that table and I dishonor him, and I go to talking some type of crazy and take it to Facebook and I can sabotage that opportunity. I am of no benefit to him. Like, we got to get that. I think sometimes we don't want to hear that kind of stuff, but we got to get that. I am of no benefit to him. So it's not going to be a big deal for him to kind of chop me out and just keep on going. Now, I can bring I can bring all of y'all. Let's just say I get a business meeting. This is just an example, guys. I get a business meeting with a millionaire. No, I'm not going to say that about me. I'm going to say that about somebody else. I'll say somebody gets a business meeting with a millionaire and they bring 10 people with them. or what have you. And the team, then there's like, okay, this is my team, or what have you, and we want to work on your project for you. And he's offering to pay me $25 million, or he's offering to pay them $25 million. And so they're like to their team, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you guys $1 million each, and it's 10 of you, so that's 10 million that'll be going out of my pocket, and I'll keep the other 15 million because he's really wanting to meet with me. He wants to work with me, what have you. And so I'll just say me just for the example. But if I bring 10 people with me, and all of them show honor, all of them show respect, but I show dishonor, he can cut me out. If I don't have a contract or anything, he can cut me out and use them people. He can cut me out and call them back. I really like when we were in that meeting, you didn't say much of anything, but I loved your energy. I love this about you. I love that about you. I love that about you. You have to be careful, guys, that you're not going into opportunities, and it's not just about money, but any opportunity. You're not going into opportunities acting like you are of some benefit to people. You got to stop going into opportunities. I don't care if you got to the point where you're doing my nails. You don't ever want to get to the spot where you feel like she need me. It's too many nail shops out there. Like, for real. You can't think that I can't go somewhere else to get my nails done. I mean, because I can and I will. You can't get to the point where you feel like I can start bucking up now. Like I can let my hair down, and I can just get real crazy now. Like I can show off my gangster, and I can show off my Jezebel spirit. I can show off all those things right now, and then you end up getting cut, and you're trying to figure out why. Familiarity is a dangerous, dangerous weapon to play with. It always backfires. Familiarity is a dangerous weapon to play with. It always backfires. So it's important, guys. Hear me when I say this. Hear my heart. Hear my heart. Hear my heart. Don't hear it through pride. Don't hear it through whatever it is that you fear. Don't hear it that way. When you're dealing with familiarity, the goal of familiarity or a familiar spirit, the goal is to make it where nothing is sacred to you. That's the goal. Nothing is sacred. You lack the ability to identify or distinguish the sacred things from those things that are unholy. So you'll look for unholiness in the person. You'll look for error in the person. You'll look for the evidence of the person not being fully surrendered, submitted, or delivered. And if you look hard enough, you will always find a person's issues. If you look hard enough. See, this is the thing. Ham saw his father's issue and he exposed it. Japheth and Shem, they didn't look at it. They walked backwards and they covered him. They knew their father had an issue, but they didn't want to see it because they didn't want to get familiar. They didn't want that to mess up the way that they saw their father. So they decided, you know what? I'm not going to go look. I'm going to cover him and I pray. I cover him and I pray. If you ever want to do some great things in this life, you want to go far, you got to learn honor. And you got to stay in that spot where you say, okay, I've been walking with Tiffany for 8 months now, and I've seen her humanity. Even though I've seen it, I'm going to still continue to show honor. I'm going to show honor to everybody. I'm going to continue to show honor. I don't care if she rebuked me, because if you got the attitude, shoot, you come for me, I'm coming for you. Bye. Bye. Because you don't understand honor. You got to get to the spot where you just sit back. Now, there's nothing wrong with defending yourself, saying, no, that's not what I said, that's not what I meant, or what have you. But you got to always make sure you have honor. You got to always show honor. Honor provokes miracles. Honor provokes the hand of God. Good friend of mine did a video one day where he talked about honor, and if I can find that video, I'm going to make sure I post it up too, because I thought that was the most powerful video I've ever seen on honor. And he talked about the many times he's gone to Africa and how they have so many miracles in Africa because they were taught honor. Like that's something that was engraved in their DNA, that they were taught honor. They take off their coats for their pastors and lay it on the floor. I'm not saying that we got to go through that, but because of honor, they see so many miracles over there. In America, we too busy trying to pull everybody down to our level. In America, we too busy. We get around our pastors and we too busy trying to get to know him by name, because we don't want to call him pastor no more. We too busy trying to get to know him by name and pull him down to our level, so that because we don't want to have to deal with stretching our neck. We don't want to have to deal with having somebody to look up to and realizing where we are. We always want everybody to be on our level because we all the same in our minds. and a lack of identity when it comes to the lack of ability to identify rank is a sabotaging behavior, and it's a demonic behavior that will always cost you opportunities. A lack of because if I go to the table and I'm sitting at the table, and I have to use this example again, but if I'm sitting at the table with a billionaire or a millionaire and I ain't got $1 million, then the head of that table is a millionaire if that's what I'm pursuing. If I'm sitting back and this person is saying he's giving me the knowledge to or I'm trying to work with him, then he's the head, then he outranks me in that area. So guess what? He's my mentor in that area. In that area, I'm learning, I'm gleaning from him. If I try to pull him down to my height, I am of no benefit to him. I try to pull him down, he gonna get rid of me. I gotta get you guys to understand it. If I try to pull him down, if I'm sitting at the table and his name is Robert Smith. His name is Robert Smith. And you know, the word Bob means Robert. People use Bob. If I sit at the table and I'm like, well, okay, Bob, but you gotta understand, only his close friends call him Bob. But I'm at the table talking about, Bob, you should try their cherry salad. Just making up something. Oh, let's say you should try their filet mignon. It is to die for. And he's sitting there looking. All he can hear is Bob. Did you just call me Bob? And now I'm sitting up over here. So he recognizes, you know what? You lack honor and intelligence. You don't understand honor. You don't understand rank. So you're going to become a problem. You're already trying to compete with me. You're not understanding that, hey, listen, you're here to glean from me, not the other way around. So he's going to say, I'll tell you what Bob's going to do. Well, yeah. I think I've already had that filet mignon. Thank you. So from that point on, conversation is pretty much over. He's not interested in me. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna get his food. He ain't gonna talk much, or he'll talk a little bit. Then he's gonna be like, well, it's been really nice. But I got an appointment today with the dentist. So I'll be in touch. Call and my secretary talk to you. In other words, dude, you fired before you even got hired because you don't understand how to honor nobody. You too busy. You ain't got nothing, but you over here trying to put somebody on your level. You trying to put him on your level. That means you trying to come over his money. Dude's like, dude, bye. And so he'll just say, it's been nice. Tell your mom I said hello. And he's thinking, I will never do dinner with you again. I ain't finna fool with you. Because you don't understand. Now you walking around, girl, yeah, I told him, I was telling him that he need to fire the secretary. You out of order. You over here you're going outside of your metron. You're going outside of your rank. So now you sit back 3 weeks later, he still ain't called me. Because he ain't interested in you. Or you get a note in the mail saying we found somebody else. Now you over here having to deal with your rejection all over again. You know what? Because I think, he couldn't deal with nobody like me, because you know what, he used to talk to his employees any kind of way, but I ain't the one, girl. He wasn't gonna talk to me any kind of way. No, not necessarily that not necessary, or it doesn't necessarily mean he talks to his employees any kind of way. The issue was you lacked honor and intelligence. You didn't know how to talk to him, and he saw that you were gonna become a problem. You were gonna be a problem in the business. You're gonna start trying to start a revolution. You're gonna rebel. You're going to be too busy trying to pull him down to your level, so he wasn't finna work with you. I'm trying to show you guys how to get to 1 million, how to get to 25 million, how to get to 30 million, how to be used by God. Keep your honor. Don't lose your honor. Don't lose your honor. Don't get familiar with people. If God brings somebody into your life, don't get familiar. Don't listen. Woman of God, don't be so busy trying to be her friend. Don't be so busy trying to be her friend. Friendship comes later on as you mature. There are some people that God will bring into your life that are not assigned to be your friend. It doesn't mean just because they're doing great things in ministry that they're assigned to be your friend. If you aspire to be what they want, what they're doing, it doesn't mean that they're called to be your friend. But even if God allows it, or God says yes, you got to understand, you got to get to a certain level of maturity. Because friendship is all about perspective. Friendship is not about, oh, girl, so this is what happened to me, and me. People get tired of that. People don't want to constantly, in a friendship and a mentorship, I can deal with the me's and the I's. Because that's what mentorship is about. But in a friendship, I can't deal with the me's and the I's. That's what people got to understand. So you allow God to build things naturally. Don't allow familiarity to come and kill your destiny. Don't allow familiarity to come and sabotage what God's been working on in your life. You know, people will build for years, and I'm talking about, you ever seen somebody, it look like they're about to get, I mean, they're on the verge of success. Everything they get, you know, everything they're doing seems to be successful. They're on the verge of success. Then all of a sudden it comes tumbling down. A lot of times it's because of dishonor. It's because of dishonor. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to let you guys off of here. I want to say this. Just make sure that you're not allowing a destiny killer to sabotage your life. Don't allow a destiny killer to come in and to ruin what it is that God is building in your life. I do understand that we're tempted by all of these things. We're tempted by procrastination, laziness, just a few offense, unforgiveness, pride, jealousy, lack of submission, fear, time management, or lack of time management, familiarity. We're tempted by all those things, but you got to resist temptation. You got to resist the temptation to be offended. You got to resist the temptation to feel rejected. I think that's one I didn't mention. I'll just briefly mention it. Rejection and the fear of rejection. We talked about the fear of rejection, but rejection is a destiny killer. A lot of us have dealt with rejection, and that causes us to birth a personality that is ungodly. An ungodly personality. That's why in the ministry of deliverance, the number one spirit that you're going to almost always have to call out is the spirit of rejection. That's going to be like almost every stronghold. You're going to have to call out the spirit of rejection. And so you want to make sure that you don't allow rejection to form your personality. You want to make sure you don't allow rejection to tell you how to treat people. You know, you get around folks, and you know, one of the things about rejection is you have a tendency to notice, like, everything's magnified. Girl, I don't fool with her. She don't deal with people like me. She don't deal with people like me. Or what have you, and you don't even know that. You never taken the time out to sit down and talk to her. You don't know what type of person she is. All you know is that, you know, she hasn't said much of anything to you. Now, I get it, because I've come around people and I'm just like, I don't fool with that sister there, because she got too much pride in her. She got her head in the air. And it is not because there was a lack of effort on my part. It's because there was an abundance of effort on my part, because I spoke, I did this, and I just saw, okay. And so I can look and say, okay, I noticed that she only deals with people in power. Like, if the person got power, she's all up in their face. But when she thinks the person don't have power, she just like, I've seen that. But if you've never had a conversation with a person, never got taken the time to get to know them, but you already have decided what type of person they are, chances are you're dealing with rejection. So anyhow, guys, I'm not going to keep you longer. This is a long video. Let me see how long we've been going. Oh, okay, I can't see because I didn't have the live part open. We'll see. Give me a second, just so I can get an idea. Alright, almost an hour. So you guys have a 3-hour video to watch in your time, of course. I'm not going to put pressure on you guys to watch this immediately, but I do admonish you, you know, to just go ahead and watch it whenever you can. Don't make excuses. If you can sit up and watch a 6-hour series about R. Kelly, you can sit up and watch a 3-hour video about your destiny. Anyhow, I love y'all, and I can't wait to talk to y'all soon. Right, bye-bye.